Before the 2024 presidential elections, the Kremlin will hold an all-Russian competition it runs in our family. Among the participants, they promised to raffle off 30,000 certificates worth 5 million rubles, 300 trips around Russia and other prizes. Medusa publication reports this regarding sources. Such actions are intended to blindside voters amid rising prices due to the imposition of sanctions and rising inflation rate.
Formally, the It Runs in Our Family competition has nothing to do with the elections, but its main stages will coincide with Vladimir Putin's presidential campaign. For example, its start is scheduled for November 4th. On the same day, one of the key events of the campaign, the Russia Forum, will open at VDNH. As Medusa wrote, the forum should become an exhibition of the achievements of Putin's rule. From an article by Medusa.
Traditionally, on the eve of elections in Russia, they will try to create a beautiful picture that is far from reality. Only this time it is spoiled by the lack of real achievements in the war against Ukraine. However, according to experts in this issue too, the Kremlin's political strategists will try to justify the senseless so-called special operation.
This will all happen within the framework of some supposedly positive future, which we still need to endure. We have a huge number of enemies. The whole world is against Russia. We need to unite and survive. And only one person can help us, Vladimir Putin.
For the appearance of freedom of choice, Putin plans to introduce opposition politicians into the election race. In particular, on the night of October the 26th, he met with the leader of the Yabloko party, Grigory Yavlinsky. According to the press release, they met to allegedly discuss the need for a ceasefire agreement in Russia's war against Ukraine, as well as their own possible participation in negotiations on this matter.
The 2024 presidential elections were not discussed. Previously, Grigory Yavlinsky repeatedly publicly stated that he would consider the possibility of participating in the presidential elections if citizens themselves and on their own initiative collected at least 10 million signatures for his nomination. From the press release of the Yabloko party.
According to Medusa sources, one of the main criteria put forward by the Kremlin for Putin's opponents in the elections should be their age. They should be at least 50 years old, so that 71-year-old Putin does not look too old compared to them. But in any case, analysts are unanimous that the election results in Russia will be falsified.
How they are going to carry out all this is also difficult to imagine, because it is absolutely clear that neither 80% turnout nor 80% votes for Putin, well, if it's carried out normally, is simply impossible. The turnout will naturally be drawn. The figures were outlined by Peskov, in my opinion, more than a month ago. These 80% which are being discussed today, they don't care at all who votes for whom. They will draw everything, but the picture is definitely important to them.
Earlier, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe called on Council member states to recognize Vladimir Putin as illegitimate after the end of his current presidential term and declared Russia a dictatorship. In a unanimously adopted resolution, PACE also called for an end to all contacts with Putin, with the exception of humanitarian ones and those based on the desire for peace. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.